Okay. Go. Got to try and make this half an hour now. Right. Cool. Ready. Cool. So did everyone have a nice lunch?
Yes, thank you.
So this afternoon we are going to be covering how to maintain tape extensions. So this will be your bread and butter. So all your clients that come back to you every 6 to 8 weeks to maintain them and look after them. So this is really, really, really important that we really push into our clients the importance of maintenance and coming back to have them looked after and maintained. So what we do for maintenance is, so when your client is quite new to extensions, they won't really know how long they can go in between appointments. So, and we don't know them either. So we don't know how quick their hair grows or like how their extensions are looked after. So I always say that the very first maintenance that you do, you get your client to come back after 6 weeks. They may not need it done that soon, like going forward, but at least that will give you a gauge on roughly how long your clients can go in between each appointment.
Yeah.
So I would always book straight away the 6 week appointment after we've first done our first full set to come back, and then you can obviously do your maintenance. So we remove them a week before, so hopefully you have all your hair prepped and ready. So what I tend to do is during that week that you have in between your appointment, I prep my extensions at home. So I get a bowl of talcum powder and I rest my hair, the tops of the sticky bit of the wax in the talcum powder, cover it all, and then the old tape will just naturally just peel off really, really easy. Mm-hmm. And that also helps to dry out all of that solution that's still on the tapes. And I do that with every single one. I then will wash them, dry them and straighten them, so then they're all pretty much soft and fresh and new again. Then you need to have your retapes.
Yeah.
So with your retapes, you then basically just have to stick them back on the tops of all of your extensions, so they pretty much look like new tapes again. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate how I do that with the old tapes that we have just practiced with in the earlier session.
Yeah.
So this is the old tape that we had just removed. So with your pliers, you want to, if you imagine that we've had the talcum powder and we've put the talcum powder in, you then will get the tape, the pliers, and just slowly pull back the old tape. So you can see it is very fiddly, which is why I don't ever do this in the same day as I remove. Because also as well, if you're spending all your time removing, washing hair, you could be doing a whole new client in that time frame. So like that. So the old tape comes off, so you can see the old sticky bit there. Sometimes I'll even get a towel and like just use a towel because it can make your hands really tacky. So I'll pop that there. So then that's your tape, and obviously that bit of sticky's off. And then you can get your retape and open it up. My hands are like oily now, where I've I was like, my hands are oily now.
Probably, can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look. I put it this way. You need a bag, shall I go for that?
Yeah, you can bring your bag, that's absolutely fine.
There you go. So, it's stuck in the bag. How funny. Maybe it's stuck on the bag. Maybe I'll give it to you now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're fine.
Yeah, that's alright. So, again, then your retapes, you can buy them wherever you get your hair from. You can just buy some more retapes. And you literally just pull one off, like so. So you just pull that off like so.
Yeah.
And be really careful not to, obviously I know we have to hold it, not to hold the backs of them too much, because again you don't want to lose all the stickiness.
Okay, yeah.
And you stick that on the back,
Lovely.
like so.
Lovely, and then just leave it like that.
And literally just leave it like that until they come in, and then obviously just like we did our set, we pull them off and start again. So that.
Amazing.
So during maintenance as well, that's when you can obviously let your client know what sort of shampoos and conditioners that they need to use, or what we recommend. I always recommend silicone and sulfate free. The reason why is because the silicone and sulfate, which are in everyday shampoo, can break down the tapes and they don't last as long. They can just almost fall out. But you can obviously straighten, curl them, like anything, and you can always also use that time for your client to ask any questions about what she should be doing in between to make sure the hair's keeping as nice as possible for longer. So that's basically that. And then obviously we've put them in. It's again exactly the same as we did our how to fit the tapes. We literally just do that again and just refit them in exactly the same. I always, also another tip, whenever your client is having tapes fitted, I always tell my clients to not condition their hair. So again, if they're having maintenance, make sure you tell your client to wash her hair the day before and no conditioner, so then obviously she's ready for her refit the next day. So wash it as much as possible to get the residue out in between that week, but the night before just no conditioner. And then obviously they can go back in. So did you want to give it a go of retaping one of these hair extensions?
Lovely, yeah, let's give it a go. Perfect. And you don't need like your oil or anything, no, so the talcum powder.
No, you just want a little bit of talcum powder isn't compulsory, it's just a little tip that I've learned along the way of doing my hairdressing. That just helps like get the tape off easier. It can be so time consuming this, so obviously bear in mind as well guys, even though you are doing it at your spare time at home, you're still charging for it because you are still essentially working. And this is the figgiest part of tapes. They're so quick and easy to go in, but the maintenance is where the time consuming comes. I think some people think, oh, I'm paying this much money because like on a set of tapes that take 20 minutes to put in, but this is the bit which is going to be like the time consuming bit, the bit that's a bit more fiddly, a bit that's a bit harder.
And of course it like takes a while to get the hang of it, but then how long once you've got the hang of it, how long do you think it should take me to keep them doing this? So
your first set may take you a couple of hours. But the more confident you get, I mean, you can do full sets in 40 minutes. They are the quickest they're the quickest application method of extensions on the market of putting in.
It's all done.
Amazing. Get our little retape and stick a little retape on. That is perfect.
Let's have a look.
Every day.
Right, so let's push this on. So I would have done the take off. Then I would have washed, dried, straightened. Then taped and perfect.
So then they're pretty much exactly as they were when you first bought the hair.
As easy as that.
As easy as that, and then that literally just goes straight back in.
Perfect.
So if you was going to do maintenance on someone that only has maybe a couple in, and in that rare occasion, I will do the maintenance on the same day. Because I am only maintenancing, 4 extensions. It's a little bit more easier to do.
Like if they want just like a bit of fullness like around the front, for instance.
Exactly. You in that case, I will maintenance it the same day. and obviously what you'll have to do is you'll have to remove them with your remover.
Yeah.
Wash your client's hair, wash the extensions, and dry, retape, put them back in.
Lovely.
So still the same process as if you were going to go a week, you would do that still in the day.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not going to take you as much time because you've only got a few scattered in. So
yes.
So you can still do that.
Lovely. I guess you could put like a mask on. Oh, you wouldn't put a mask on, would you, because of the conditioner?
What,
you could put a mask on the same day
so,
while you were retaping.
yeah,
but
so
you wouldn't do
I
that, would
always
you?
say you don't want any conditioner, and I always say as well, because it's quite a hot thing that people like doing at the moment, is they
Yeah.
use like Olaplex and stuff.
Yeah.
Any Olaplex serums and stuff, they can make your hair quite slippy, and you almost don't want it slippy at all. If anything, I always recommend to use a clarifying shampoo to get all that off. So if I'm going to be doing the maintenance in one sitting, I would wash the hair with a clarifying shampoo. I'd get all like the residue, everything off that hair, so it's drier. So the extensions go in there really, really nice and sticky and secure. So yeah, you don't want your client to have anything in their hair basically. So
once they're fitted, can you put like serum through the ends?
Once they're fitted, you can put a bit of serum on the ends. I always recommend not to wash their hair in 48 hours.
Fine.
So really make sure that you're telling your client that they're telling their client that their clients do not wash the hair in 48 hours because they're still sealing and they still need to be a bit secure. If they go home and just wash their hair straight away, they could have a puddle of hair in their bath. So really, really make sure that they're not washing their hair for 48 hours after having them fitted.
Great.
That's really important. But is there any other questions
No, I think that's
in that with the maintenance side of things?
No, I think that's everything.
So what we are going to do now is we're going to do a little mini sort of questionnaire and go over just everything, all the key points that we've learned today. I'm going to ask some questions and see if you know the rough answer to. And then we'll go at the end if you have any sort of any questions, I don't know, about sort of advertising or social media or pricing, then we can always go over that at the end.
Lovely.
So we'll do the little questionnaire.
Yeah.
And I think you should have a little questionnaire in your books that you can tick off.
Perfect.
Does that sound good?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. 17.
Right. So shall I pause a little bit? Because I feel like I need to think.
Yeah. Or just ask me questions if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to
Answer some
yes.
some questions. I don't know what questions to ask.
This is anything. Do like
I might pause.
Yeah,
because I need.
I don't even